Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect out here pushing this truth and sincerity throughout of what you do. We love you. We appreciate you through the spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom to y'all. It's your brother Dawad from the Great Millstone Camp in Atlanta. The Lord willing to give you an edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Who the world ignorantly calls God, his name is Yahweh, meaning he is or he exists or he to be. Who the world calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai, meaning he is the Savior or he is the deliverer. All right, he saves, he delivers. If you're watching this now, you are a so-called Black, Native American, or Latino man or woman, then you are a Hebrew Israelite according to the Holy Bible. You will not find Black, Native American, or Latino in the Bible. So you need to know who you are according to the Bible, because of certain people in the Bible was promised the kingdom, glory, covenant, and salvation. All right, a certain sector of those people were promised salvation. All right. Now, if you don't look like a so-called Black, Native American, or Latino, right, that does not mean that you're not a Hebrew Israelite who can't get salvation, all right? Especially if you believe in this truth and you think that in it resonates with your spirit, there's a possibility that you could be a Hebrew Israelite and receive salvation, all right? It does not matter what you look like. It does not matter what color your skin is. It only matters that your bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob had his name later changed to Israel. Israel in the Hebrew is Yasharallah, meaning he is a prince of the power. Now, last time we read, all right, King Saul had killed had Doeg, right, the Edomite, kill priests and his family, or kill a priest and his family because he helped King David escape. It's a really wicked deed, all right? In some cases, the priests, were considered to be above the kings, all right, in some cases, all right? And, yeah, man, that's wicked, man. You touching the Lord's anointed, you know what I mean? The men that the Lord ordained, So, we know that one escaped. Is Abiathar? Let me see. Salakia. One escaped and went to King David. Abiathar, yeah. What does his name mean? Abiathar.
Strong's H54. Eviathar.
Yeah, Abiathar, which means my father is great. Wow. Yeah, because Abba is father. Yeah. All right, so now we're in 1 Samuel chapter 23, verse 1. Subtitle reads, David delivers Keilah. It says, Then they told David, saying, Behold, the Philistines fight against Keilah, and they rob the threshing floors. Therefore David inquired of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, saying, Shall I go and smite these Philistines? And the Lord, Yahweh Shai, said unto David, Go and smite the Philistines and save Keilah. So now, one good point already, seeking counsel, right? He prayed to the Lord to see what he should do. And we shouldn't be doing anything unless the Lord had ordained it, right? Meaning what? We should be kind of following the spirit. We should be following the spirit. So what do we have today for counsel? We have or mentorship or leadership or understanding and a clear mind, to have going into certain situations. We have the apostles and elders that were set up by the Spirit, you see? So now we can go to, you go to your camp heads, because they're in the spirit. That's what bros don't understand. Like, these men are spiritual, you know what I mean? They were far more spiritual than a lot of us, and they'll tell you things according to the Spirit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Real spiritual. It's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, man, we really gotta be thankful for the leadership that the apostles, the elders give us through the Spirit of Yahweh Shemi Shai. Yahweh Shemi Shai, the Comforter, has given us leadership that does not lack. You see, it's important that we listen to them. But if you don't know something, seek counsel. It'll help you. It might save your life. So that's what King David did. David is asking for counsel. It says, and David's men said unto him, behold, and notice that all of our forefathers did that in the past. It says, and David's men said unto him, behold, we be afraid here in Judah. How much more then if we come to Keilah against the armies of the Philistines? Then David inquired of the Lord yet again, and the Lord answered him and said, arise, go down to Keilah, for I will deliver the Philistines into thine hand. So David and his men went to Keilah and fought with the Philistines and brought away their cattle and smote them with a great slaughter. So David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. And it came to pass, when Abiathar the son of Amalek fled to David to Keilah, that he came down with an ephod in his hand. And it was told Saul that David was come to Keilah. And Saul said, God hath delivered him into mine hand, for he is shut in by entering into a town that hath gates and bars. And Saul called all the people together to war, to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his men. And David knew that Saul secretly practiced mischief against him. And he said to Abiathar the priest, bring hither the ephod. Then said David, O Lord, Yahweh Shemi Shai, power of Yasharallah, power of Israel, thy servant hath certainly heard that Saul seeketh to come to Keilah to destroy the city for my sake. Will the men of Keilah deliver me up into his hand? Will Saul come down as thy servant hath heard? O Lord, Yahweh Shemi Shai, power of Yasharallah, I beseech thee, tell thy servant. And the Lord said, he will come down. Then said David, will the men of Keilah deliver me and my men into the hand of Saul? And the Lord said, they will deliver thee up. Then David and his men, which were about 600, arose and departed out of Keilah, and went whithersoever they could go. And it was told Saul that David was escaped from Keilah, and he forbore to go forth. And David abode in the wilderness in strongholds, and remained in the mountain in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but Yahweh delivered him not into his hand. Saul persuades David. And David saw that Saul was come out to seek his life, and David was in the wilderness of Ziph in the wood. And Jonathan, Saul's son, arose and went to David in the wood, and strengthened his hand in power in God. And he said unto him, fear not, for the hand of Saul my father shall not find thee, and thou shalt be king over Israel, and I shall be next unto thee, and that also Saul my father knoweth. Yeah, Saul knew this, man, because it was a spirit, because of what he had done, the wickedness that he had done in his past. He knew that his seat was going to be relinquished, man, and given to David. Fuck you. It says, and they too made a covenant before the Lord, and David abode in the wood, and Jonathan went to his house. Then came up the Ziphites, to Saul to Gibeah, saying, doth not David hide himself strongholds of the woods of the hill Hakila, which is on the south of Jeshimon? Now therefore, O king, come down according to all the desire of thy soul to come down, and our part shall be to deliver him to the king's hand. And Saul said, Blessed be ye the Lord, for ye have compassion on me. Go, I pray you, prepare yet, and know and see his place where his haunt is, and who hath seen him there. For it is told to me that he dealeth very subtly. See therefore and take knowledge of all the lurking places where he hideth himself, and come ye again to me with a certainty, and I will go with you. And it shall come to pass, if he be in the land, that I will search him out through all the thousands of Judah. And they arose and went to Ziph before Saul. But David and his men were in the wilderness of Maon, in the plain of the south of Jeshimon. Saul also and his men went to seek him. And they told David, wherefore he came down into a rock and abode in the wilderness of Maon. And when Saul heard that he pursued after David the wilderness of Maon, and when Saul heard that he pursued after David in the wilderness of Maon, and Saul went on this side of the mountain, and David and his men on that side of the mountain. And David made haste to get away for fear of Saul, for Saul and his men compassed David and his men round about to take them. But there came a messenger unto Saul, saying, Haste thee, and come, for the Philistines have invaded the land. Wherefore Saul returned from pursuing after David, and went against the Philistines. Therefore they called that place Selah Hamalakath. Now Salakia, because some of these words, they're complex. It says, and David went up from thence and dwelt in strongholds at Engedi. So let's see. I want to see what this means, this word here. The cliff of escape. So, okay. The cliff of divisions. Okay. Chapter 24, it says, David spared Saul's life. And it came to pass, when Saul was returned from following the Philistines, that it was told him, saying, Behold, David is in the wilderness of Engedi. It says, Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats. And he came to the sheepcotes by the way where was a cave, and Saul went in to cover his feet, and David and his men remained in the sides of the cave. And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day of which the Lord said unto thee, Behold, I will deliver thy enemy into thy hand, that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee. Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul's robe privily. And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Saul's skirt. And he said unto his men, The Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord. So David stayed his servants with 2 swords, and suffered them not to rise against Saul. But Saul arose up out of the cave and went his way. David also arose afterward and went out of the cave and cried after Saul, saying, My lord the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself. And David said unto Saul, Wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, Behold, David seeketh thy hurt? Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that the Lord hath delivered thee today into mine hand in the cave, and some bade me kill thee, but mine eyes spared thee, and I said, I will not put forth my hand against the Lord, my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. Moreover, my father, see the skirt of thy robe in my hand, for in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe and killed thee not. I know thou, Salakia, I'm reading like a kindergartner, and kill thee not. Know thou and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in my hand, and I have not sinned against thee. Yet thou huntest my soul to take it. The Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, judge between me and thee, and the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, avenge me of thee. But mine hand shall not be upon thee. As saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness proceeded from the wicked, but mine hand shall not be upon thee. After whom is the king of Yasharallah come out? After whom dost thou pursue? After a dead dog, after a flea? The Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua therefore be judge and judge between me and thee, and see and plead my cause, and deliver me out of thine hand. And it came to pass, when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. And he said to Saul, Thou art more righteous than I, for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I have rewarded thee evil. And thou hast shewed this day how that thou hast dealt with me, for as much as when the Lord had delivered me into thine hand, thou killedst me not. For if a man find his enemy, will he let him go well away? Wherefore the Lord Yahweh Shem shall reward thee good for that thou hast done unto me this day. And now, behold, I know well that thou shalt surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in thine hand. Swear now therefore unto me by the Lord, that thou wilt not cut off my seed after me, and that thou wilt not destroy my name out of my father's house. And David sware unto Saul, and Saul went home. But David and his men gat them up unto the hole. All right, I might have to. Yeah, I gotta. So Lord, when he is edified, we're reading about the activities of our forefathers, their conquest, and the humility, the characteristics, the things that they went through, right? The hardships they had to battle through. So Lord, when he's edified, I want to end off by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, the one to apostles, the elders, the great millstone that rule well, peace and blessings to the whole full elect, and shalom.